Says we're live. There we go. I was gonna stop the picture from on and on. The video inside the video. Alfred Homestead, hello. Now there is a delay. You want that out of the picture, huh? Yeah, there is a delay. I don't know how long, probably 30 seconds. What is that other noise? There's feedback in something. I don't know what it is. Let's try that. Did I get it? Yep.
Yep. This is the air conditioner squeaking.
It was the air conditioner. Goes on and on and on. We seem to have an echo now. It says we're good now. So how y'all been? I catch your videos every once in a while, but we're busy with the garden this time of year, and I don't get a whole lot of time on the computer.
It rained.
Yeah, we actually got an inch of rain today.
Right.
Best rain we've got in probably a month.
It'll make everything green again.
Yeah. I went out a while ago. The ground's actually a little soft. Where I've tilled, it's actually muddy, but the rest of it's kind of hard. It's going to take a lot more rain than an inch to ever get it started again. Hello, Miss Christie.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good. The garden is really starting to pick up.
We did pickles today.
I made 8 quarts of pickles today. We put up 2-gallon bags of onions so far. Got a lot more onions to go. A gallon of bell pepper.
Hey, Mission.
A couple of quart bags of jalapenos. Hello, Miss Misha. What else did I put up today? I don't know. I went through and cleaned out what all we've been getting and tried to get it all in the freezer. Beans.
I don't know, you.
That's 6 quarts of beans now. It's been a busy day.
My eyes water with that pickle stuff, so I don't know how to clue.
The pickling was rough on her. She ain't much on vinegar to begin with. I was making dill pickles and refrigerator pickles, so it got kind of strong in here for a few minutes.
Yeah. Had a bad rough day anyway, so it's just one of those days.
Now Cindy's in the background if you wonder why I keep looking over the computer. I know some of you can probably hear her, but she's stretched out, but she's still joining us where she can see what's going on.
We don't want them clean with vinegar.
She won't clean with vinegar. I don't mind vinegar. I'm used to the vinegar smell. I do a lot of pickling. I like hot peppers and vinegar, you know, okra. She's real sensitive to a lot of things, so the onions I cut up, or the two onions I cut up today had us both crying, so I put a red onion in the refrigerator pickles. It's kind of rough.
It's a good onion when you can cut it in one room and cry in the other.
Yeah. You know, it's a good onion when it just cuts your vision completely off. There ain't no tearing up. It just automatically you're done. You got to walk away. But they're sweet onions. They're just really strong. I think we've got 6 of them Coke crates, Pepsi crates full of onions still to go. I'm starting to knock a dent in the stuff we're getting. As it increases, I'm trying to keep up, but it's going to get interesting. Tomatoes are starting to roll in.
You're going to have to dig some potatoes so long.
Well, let's see. It got up to 98 today and is now 74. When it rained earlier, it cooled it off that much. It was hot and humid all day, though. About 3 o'clock when it rained.
Something like that.
We'll get in the 80s tomorrow, close to 90 again. But
it was 103 the other day.
If the
yesterday
humidity will go down, it ain't bad. The humidity this morning stayed in the 90s. It was miserable outside. I don't guess we got out and done a whole lot today, other than I went to the gardens. I went to a couple of them. Miss Cindy wasn't feeling very good this morning, so we stayed at home today. She couldn't hardly get up and go, and I just stayed here with her. Cooked and put up all the produce.
Jesus.
Cabbage and bacon. What? She don't like cabbage.
I like raw cabbage.
She likes raw cabbage. I like sweating it down with smoked sausage or bacon or something, and it's pretty good. This is the face she made. I couldn't help it.
It just kind of feels slimy to me when it's cooked. I like the crunch.
Miss Christie said she hopes you feel better. She don't like it raw, so.
I love it raw.
A lot of stuff's good that way. I like the greens in the garden raw. You get the turnip greens and the mustard greens and the kale and stuff going.
I like rabbit. I like it fresh from the garden, just chawing it right there.
It's fun to give somebody a mustard leaf too. They ain't used to it.
I don't learn not to eat nothing unless you say they're really good.
No, you couldn't handle a mustard leaf.
No.
They got a lot of kick too. Rabbits, squirrels, birds.
Deer.
We used to see a deer around here, but I ain't seen one in a long time.
Oh, last year.
I ain't seen one in the garden. I've seen tracks now.
Oh, I was gonna say there's tracks around the garden last year.
Occasional house cat.
Dog.
There was one sitting in the corn this morning watching me, and I was out there working. We stared each other down for a minute.
Yeah, rabbit like to eat our stuff.
There's too many dogs and cats around here for rabbits still a whole lot. They do sneak in from time to time and get you, but most of the time the dogs are barking and screaming and hollering and they don't like it. They're not sure if the dogs can get to them or not, so they stay back.
There's only 6 dogs in this area.
When I built the temporary greenhouse 2 or 3 years ago, just to try it and see what the weather would do with it. The rabbits would actually sneak in it and eat. Because the dogs couldn't see them, they would sneak through an opening and they'd eat on the inside.
We had rabbits at one time.
Hello from Houston, Texas. Call my mama? That's
something, mama.
Yeah. That's a long ways from here. Welcome.
My aunt used to be in Texas. She moved there now.
Well, what we're going to talk about, we've had kind of a boring week. I work in the garden, I go to work, I come home, I work in the garden, I go to bed. I mean, it's other than talk about gardening, that's about all I've got anymore.
Well,
I am running an extra route for extra money, but I'm doing a summer school route with a bus. I'll be glad when that's over with. I just put it that way.
what about blackberries? They doing alright?
Blackberries are just starting to come in. Yeah, we have videos. 2019 or 20 when we stood up a temporary one. We used PVC and drove fence posts and stretched some plastic over it just to see how plants would stand the weather here. We didn't put no heat or nothing in it. And the storms tore it down about 5 or 6 times. So I think what was the first week we put it up, we had a tornado. It completely demolished it. We stood it back up. The next weekend it rained again. Wind blew it down. Rained so much the posts come out of the ground.
Well, you put it up that year. We had back-to-back storm for like 2
every week.
weeks.
Pretty much every week, either Saturday or Sunday, or it would blow it down, or it'd tear it up, or it'd rain so hard the post would actually pull up out of the ground. But we finally got it taped together enough and enough weight on it. We kept it for one winter, and it did good for what it was. It was sad what was inside of it, but it was just a test to see how the plants would do.
We'll get materials gathered now for a real greenhouse, though.
We are, yeah, like Cindy said, we've got some materials gathered. I tore down a greenhouse. I've got a video about getting to the greenhouse. I didn't video myself tearing it down because I was one person and I tore down a 16 by 24 in about 7 hours. It wasn't a pretty sight, but it was loaded on a trailer and ready to go in less than 8 hours. I saved what was good, but a lot of it was rotten or old. I got the polycarbon sheets. That's what I'm trying to think what they had on it. Got a few tube bores. Do what?
The plastic stuff.
Yeah, the polycarbon. Got a few 2x4s, a few odd and end pieces. The door. Things like that. We're going to try to stand one up if things work out. I'm really looking forward to having one, so I don't have to grow as much during the summer. I can actually stretch it out and let a few things go in the winter and not have to double plant or triple plant a garden. Succession planting it gets very tiring. I'm trying to keep up with everything else and plant 3 or 4 or 5 rounds or something. I know what I was going to say. Right before I got on here, hello, Tinker's wife. She's in Oregon. Right before I got on here, my grandmother-in-law had dropped off some sweet potatoes and some red skin white potatoes for me to use for seed. I had to go grab it right quick before I got on the live, and I was back just a few minutes before I had to jump on the computer. But they left the sweet potatoes in a cardboard box outside, not knowing it was going to rain. It was that was a mess. Yeah, I picked up a box and yellow water run out the end of it. I made it to the truck with the sweet potatoes, but when I got to the house and opened the door, and the box had sat there long enough, it was toasted. They just dumped and just strung out across the ground. I planted them in the driveway. So I had to pick up sweet potatoes right quick.
Yeah.
Well, we got Cindy a wheelchair too. That was a blessing. Free wheelchair.
Freedom.
Yeah, she's hollering freedom. She'll be ready to roll, won't she? Have her own wheels.
It's not too bad, but when I get to the part where my leg don't work, I need something to get me around with.
I usually just cut the runners off of it, or they call them slips when they get big enough. Kind of like a potato, it'll grow an eye and it'll grow a long stem. I slice the end of that off, end of the potato off just enough to have a little meat left on it, I guess you could say. Plant it in the ground and it'll actually root out pretty quick, grow leaves and take off. Does Cindy have a lead foot? Yes.
What do you mean left foot?
She
I
don't get
ain't
to drive
driving
no more.
over here.
She ain't allowed to drive no more, but yeah, when she was driving, yeah, she could be quite peppy. I grow sweet potato slips, like several others. You put them down in dirt, let them grow slips, pull the slips out, plant the slips in the garden. If I don't get enough, I just slice off the end of the potato. It's already got the start of the slips growing, and it'll grow too. But you'll get more by planting it in dirt. You'll get a lot more starch. Some people put it in water. I've tried both. I do all three sometimes. Whatever it takes to get enough slips. I plant about 70 hills usually. I can see myself behind me. I had it going. You could. It was a computer inside a computer inside a computer, and I was trying to get all this set up.
Mhm.
The mirror effect, I guess.
Yeah. No, yeah. Or change. You've gone taters out of change. You're starting to do something up right
Yeah,
now.
we put out a video about our potatoes we grew out of the what we call the change, the little tiny potatoes most people throw down. Little pieces we cut off of potatoes over the months, and we stored them in the refrigerator. Sorry, somebody, somebody must be talking about me. My ears is burning, nose is itching.
Well, yeah. You don't lie.
We save all that. We cut the eyes off potatoes, put them down in the yogurt cup. We got a big yogurt cups. Put them in the bottom refrigerator after they dry. You can keep them for months. They'll still grow a potato. It might not be the biggest and the best, but it will feed you, and that's what I was trying to see if what you could get away with and still grow food. See, I was watching your video about. I do have some root and hormone. I've tried a couple different ones. A lot of stuff I mess with, you don't have to have it, like blackberries, raspberries, the stuff like that. It'll just grow. Tomatoes, I guess you could put it on it, but you put them down in a cup with water, especially a dark cup where the roots will start. If it's a good sucker, it'll take off pretty quick. But I have used some trying different things. We try to propagate more plants off the ones we already got. Living on a budget, it's a lot easier to propagate off other plants instead of trying to spend money and buy more plants. I hadn't heard of that. You can use willow water for rooting plants. A lot of these plants, like I mess with, the blackberries, I was talking about the cherry plants, the cherry bushes, you can cut a limb off, stick the cherry bush in the ground, and it'll actually root out a lot of times. The blackberry, you can bury the end of the vine or the stem of it, just bury it in the dirt, and it'll grow roots and actually reverse and come back up. Kaleidoscope Junkie, hello. For those that's showing up, there is a slight delay. What do you think, about 10, 15 seconds?
No, something like that.
It's kind of weird.
By the time you done talking, that's when it started talking.
I hear myself repeat, so it's kind of strange, but I get stereo.
I forgot to get my earbuds tonight.
And that's what you did last time, wasn't it? You used
Yeah.
earbuds and I couldn't hear nothing. I've heard the honey trick now. That's a good one. I haven't tried it, but I have heard of people doing it. Yeah. I'm going to catch up on the comments. Yeah. Well, y'all won't ever know it because I'm reading the comments and I talk, and then there's a few seconds and I hear myself repeat before y'all hear it. So I've even had my computer on behind me. You can see I was trying it out a while ago. Most time I'm sitting at the desktop, but I don't have a webcam for it.
Homestead Pastor.
Hello, Homestead and Pasture. Good evening. What's that?
Emojis.
Oh. I never have been much on the emojis. Time I find them and get them put on there, it's done way too late. Honey is antibacterial. I've heard that, but I didn't think about that far as rooting plants. But you always learn something new.
That's the one thing about gardening. You learn something new every year because the weather changes so much. Just when you think you got it going right, something changes.
And the plants will teach you sometimes too. You learn the hard way sometimes when you just about kill something.
It's just one of those things, you know. You have no control over whether it rains or sunshine or.
Nope.
And you're at the mercy of the weather.
We've learned in our gardens over the years that before you plant something, a lot of times has a big difference in how it grows. It's strange.
You moved that green bean back to the garden that year.
I moved the green bean trellis just because it didn't grow as good over here as it did in the other garden. It's sunnier over there. Or over here it has a little more shade.
Sunny, it's just downright hot over there.
Yeah, it stays hot over there, but it's like our hot peppers and our bell peppers, they grow better at the bottom of the garden. Our garden next to the house is on an incline. So the bottom of the garden grows the peppers better than the top of the garden. Tomatoes grow better at the top than they do at the bottom.
You did something different with the cucumbers this year too. You did something different with the cucumbers too.
The cucumbers, I kind of put them down between two rows of tomatoes and kind of gave them some shade.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I put the other ones in the shade, so.
You don't have them growing like you did before. You said something about
letting them grow flat.
Yeah.
I think they actually do pretty good flat, maybe a little better than they do climbing. But Northeast Georgia has been, we've had the hundreds too.
Well, I don't know. That's a picture we've had for 30 years.
Yeah, Her mama gave us that picture when we bought the house. That's what's her Thomas Kincaid?
No, that's
No.
not.
What is it
That's
she likes so well?
That's a home interior picture.
Home interior. I knew
She
they
was
was.
big in home interior when we got married. And that's the picture her gave us.
It's been hanging there for 5 years, 26.
It's my piece. I like to stare at it.
It's a pretty picture. It's the
Eagles
flying
over
the Grand Canyon. I was telling them a while ago we got 98 here, but the humidity was in the 90s, so it was nasty for about 2, 3 o'clock. When the storm came in, the wind came with it, which blowed the corn around. Kind of made a mess of the sweet corn, but we was able to death get the water, so we lowered the temperature to 74 now.
Oh yeah.
It's been miserable here pretty well all June.
The highest I said it was 105.
We hit 105
and
the other day.
122 heat index.
122 heat index.
That's the highest heat index I can remember.
It was 102 when I got home Thursday. That's 3:30, almost 4 o'clock before I get home.
It's still over 100 degrees last night when it got dark.
It's hot by 9 o'clock. It's in the 90s by 9 o'clock.
One day I wake it and it's nearly 100 by 10 o'clock.
It's been really
hot.
Usually we get this kind of weather in July and August. August we expect this, not June. You can expect upper 90s, around 100, high humidity, high heat indexes, very little rain. It's like we skipped 2 months. But the picture cut where you can see it a little better now somehow. That was our housewarming present, I guess you could say. We had like a housewarming party. Your parents put us one through.
My mom and sister gave us a housewarming when we moved here. We've been here. Mathis turns 25 this year, so it'll be 26 years in October. We've been here 25 years.
Time.
So we moved in here in October. Samantha was born in August. So.
Hello, Grandma's so happy.
Yes.
I hadn't seen that in a long time. I can't remember the live we always met on.
Well,
it was your daughter's live, I believe. I've lost touch with that one. I can't remember what it was now.
It was live.
I don't realize how many people we have met on here.
Oh, yeah. Is there going to be a picnic for September?
I haven't looked it up yet. I don't know if anybody else has.
Well, was it Kentucky?
Yeah. I don't know of anybody on here that goes to it, so other than us. We didn't go last time. They didn't have one for COVID, then we didn't go last year because you got the feeling worse.
Yeah, I couldn't get up and go.
What was what?
Grandma, so happy. She said, pray for folks who need lots of prayer.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of her name. What was your daughter's name again? What was her channel? I can't think of it. She Moved Mountains. Yeah, that's it. I used to try to catch that one all the time.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, Cindy was asking me about the homestead and picnic. It's in Kentucky, it's usually in September, like the middle of September. I told her, I said, I don't know of anybody on here that goes to it or anybody that would know about it this year. I haven't checked to see what the date is, but Stringfield Ridge is the major channel behind it. Samson Farms goes, and Miss Libby, Miss Lippy and Buddy was helping last time, but she moved. It's still, I'm glad to know it's still going. Maybe I can make it this year. It's a couple hours, I guess, ride. There ain't an interstate that goes from where we're at to where they're at. When you cross into West Tennessee, there is no direct route anywhere.
No. You back road it.
It's all 2-lane and 4-lane roads, but it swaps back and forth. A lot of it's 2 lanes that they're slowly building to a 4-lane, but to go north you have to go west, and sometimes almost south to get back to north, to go west to go back south. It gets very aggravating. The way we go is pretty straight for the longest, but it changes roads over and over and over. But September the 10th. Might have to plan to try that one again. If Cindy's able to go, we might travel for that one. Take her by her favorite restaurant. It's a burger place. Yeah, that's bad when you don't have a vehicle. It's aggravating. We're down to one right now. I can fix the other, but I really need money to work on it, and I'm not messing with it right now. But our children's got vehicles, and they live in the same area we do. We actually own their houses, so it might help if I take the battery back off the tractor and put back on one of our vehicles too. I keep the battery on the tractor a lot. And we'll be praying for your daughter too, and you. Best I remember, y'all both had issues with the wreck. Thank you for praying for Cindy. But as far as traveling, Cindy's not able to travel a long ways. It gets to her. So if we do make it to the picnic, we'll probably have to get a motel room. Let her rest. It's more than she can handle. Till she got sick, she was like me. We could drive anywhere. We could drive 4 or 5 hours each, or take turns. Or she was a very good driver. Now it just unnerves her, and she can't deal with it. So I do all the driving. Which I have a commercial driver's license. I do a lot of driving. I really don't want to do driving anymore, but that's part of my money is commercial drivers. So there's another homesteading thing happening in Tennessee. It's in Camden, which ain't a long ways from us. But I think the tickets are kind of expensive, and right now we can't do it. We're still waiting to see how things turn out. But I keep hearing Perma Pastures Farm talk about it, and Metcalf Mills, and there's another channel that's promoting it, but I believe it's Camden, Tennessee, where they're going to have a homestead and I forgot what they call it. The bigger event, the picnic, doesn't have tickets. You don't have to pay a lot of money. It's free to get in. You just bring whatever she tells you to. Basically you're bringing food and meeting up with people or drinks or whatever. But the one in Camden, it's by ticket only, and so maybe it's a lot more money than I can put into it.
I know my grandma said so I don't get to drive no more.
No, we don't want you driving no more. No. I like the volunteer plants. It usually gets me in trouble because if they're not in a good spot, I'll dig them up and move them and transfer them to pots or whatever I have to get them healthy enough and put them back out. That's right. I've got 17 pumpkin plants now. No, the picnic is very laid back. It's the fellowship basically. There ain't no schedule. There ain't nothing pressing. They do give stuff away. They have a little drawings and people sets up booths and you just walk around and talk to one another. It's just a good time. It's not all day. It starts at 10 usually and everybody's gone 3 or 4 o'clock probably. Depending on what the weather does too. It was really hot for the time we went. Yeah, you'll have to go back and lay down.
The last year, or a couple of years back, when they did the longest colors.
The pumpkins, we bring them in, put them somewhere where it's dark and cool in the house, and they'll keep for months. It and watermelon will do it. We don't usually have cantaloupes left to find out, but squash and watermelon, pumpkins, spaghetti squash, stuff like that. Yeah, we bring it in.
You put pumpkin in a can last year.
Yeah, we can sometimes too, but
you make canned pumpkins.
We brought in the sugar pumpkins and set them in the floor, and they lasted about February or March. I think the last one might have been April, but we found 17 pumpkin plants. Well, I did. I spot the stuff and I'm walking around. The other one, I believe, is a cantaloupe. 10 or 12 tomato plants. I don't know. I just move stuff around. I'll find it. I'll take a shovel, scoop it up. If it's healthy enough, I'll put it in a row in the garden. If not, I'll put it in a pot and baby it for a few days and get it ready to go. Peppermint was another knife I've got going.
You can it. Maybe. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where she's at, but yeah, she should be able to grow something. There's a lot of things grow quick. Your greens, your cabbage, and your lettuce, and your turnip greens, mustard greens, kale, stuff like that to grow pretty quick.
How large is your garden area? Yeah, just have it in your garden.
We've got 4 gardens. We've got one that's 50 by 60. We've got 2 somewhere around 20 by 35. We just have to kind of fit them in around the trees. And the other one is about 35 by 100. I do roast pumpkins to get the coating off the outside so I can can them, or I make pie or pumpkin bread or the various other things we do with it. But most time it goes in. It's either making bread or uh, I make a pumpkin pie for myself. Cindy won't eat it. She eats the bread, but she won't eat the pie. I can hide it in the bread, and it's sweet. It's kind of camouflaged. It's kind of made a different color. And along with the 4 gardens, I've got 5 raised beds of various sizes and about 10 or 12 big pots going. I've got 16 pots, but I ain't got, I think, 10 of them going right now. We got stuff growing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she won't hardly touch the pie. Very few pies she likes.
That kaleidoscope. We're in the next instructor.
Good night, Kaleidoscope. I know what it used to be like for the internet to drop. We actually got decent now.
I got tried something, Bob.
I don't know if I got you to try it or not. And I got you to eat sweet potato casserole.
Yeah. No, I tried some of it.
If you go to a gathering in the South, you're gonna have sweet potato casserole, especially around my family. We finally got her eating that. We've got her to eat a lot of things over the years.
Not as picky as I used to be. What makes really good sweet potato casserole? He's a real good cook. Brett does the
Everybody.
cooking here.
Yeah, I do 99% of the cooking now. So, well, we just gotta get her to try it. A lot of times, it's not the fact she don't like it; it's the fact she doesn't want to try it, or she's never tried it the way we make it.
Texture.
My grandmother got her on several items. My grandmother was an excellent cook, old country style cook. She hardly ever went by recipes unless it was something she's never made. She'd make pies, make cakes, and she could just put it together.
I couldn't tell her no.
No, you can resist.
My tech bud mellow, no. It's a texture. I'm getting over the texture.
Now, she says it's all about texture, but
Yeah, we grew up 40 miles from each other.
we both grew up in Tennessee. I was on one end of the county, and she was on the other. I met her in about the 8th grade. We went to our parents both worked at the same factory. We went to Opryland.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I met her at. First time I met her.
We was in high school together.
We went to high school together, same age.
Class.
Okay, my phone's going off.
Yes, grandma was the best cook.
And she cooked for everybody.
She cooked for me one time when I was big enough to do it.
They actually had a restaurant back in the 50s, I believe. Late 50s, early 60s. My grandparents owned a restaurant for a little while. She'd done all the cooking. But she could make a meal out of what most people couldn't tell there was anything in the house. She could just stir something up.
Okay.
That's why I learned to cook. You didn't get a measuring spoon out. You didn't have a measuring cup a lot of times. It was a little this, a little that, about that much, pinch of this, sprinkle of that.
She took the taste.
Yeah.
Okay. The sweet talk. Even though we went to high school together, we didn't date till a year after.
Yeah, that's true. We went to high school with each other and
Graduated to each other.
never dated, never really talked.
No, we
Or
we we
it's small high school now
we
too.
talked we talked about going out in high school,
Yeah.
but we never did. Cause I asked your friends about you, and you asked about me, but we didn't go out with each other because
It was a year after high school, wasn't it? Roughly.
yes, it was a
It was
year after
July.
high school.
It was July the next year.
Oh, we graduated in '92, and we started dating in July of '93. Was married in January of '94. Didn't take long to figure out I wanted to hitch up.
Them kind of cooks, you had to sit and watch them cook, and you had to guess it roughly how much they was putting in it. Hello, Aussies, oddities. I can't get that out. That's the channel Brother Donnie told us about the other day. I've been watching. He likes the old tractors too.
The cooking,
Thank you, Ozzy.
my grandmother cooked the same way.
Yeah.
Because Aunt Jean wanted her recipe for dressing. And she said, "What are you putting in?" She goes, "Oh, I'm putting in pepper. How much?" "About this much." And she throws like a pinch in there. And she said, "And then you add some salt." "Well, how much?" She goes, "Oh, about like this." My Aunt Jean Fine just said, "Forget it." Because it was just like little handfuls and pinches, and it was just like about this much. There was no measurements.
Mm.
I learned to cook dressing because your grandmama took me in the kitchen and made me do it.
She told you.
And she
add
put
or take
all the
away
ingredients in my hand and showed me how to do it.
It's like making biscuits or cornbread. I learned by watching, but there was no measurements. I never seen the woman measure for a biscuit or a pound of cornbread. That was just she'd stir that up with her eyes shut. She could make everything. I mean, she made pie crust and all, but that was something you got in my grandmother's house. When you showed up in the afternoon, especially her kids, you show up, the first thing she'd ask, "You need something to drink? Need something to eat?" And she was wanting to know if you could go fix this. Can I go fix that? The kids figured out she'd make them biscuits. She'd make stovetop biscuits. So she'd go in there and stir up stovetop biscuits, and she'd feed them until they was absolutely stuffed. She'd hand fed some of them.
They would ask her for cornbread because she made it on stovetop most of the time, and she'd go in there and make them some cornbread. And they sit there and eat that cornbread. Well, unless it was my son, then he just sat there with his mouth open, and Grandma just shoved it in.
She was a good woman. My daddy didn't cook. I know the tinker's wife said her dad cooked. You didn't want to eat my daddy cooked. You still don't want to eat my daddy cooks. Well, I can, I'm used to it. He'll cooking with a bologna sandwich, or a can of sardines, or a can of treat, or something like that. No, that wasn't much technically preparing food. It was kind of like open it up and eat it.
But I'm thankful you spent so much time with her because you learned to cook like her.
If I spent more time with my daddy, I might not be as big as I am now.
I wouldn't be as big as I am if you learned to cook from me.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be as big as we are if I cooked more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't cook very good. That's why we'd lose weight if I went back cooking.
You had your meals that you could cook, and I had mine. But as you've got worse over the years, I've picked up all the cooking. So the only time you really get up and help is you make my grandmother's dressing, because you're about the only one that knows how to make that.
You talk
Her
creative
husband got
meals
creative.
there. Tinker's his wife. So the creative. I'll go to the pantry. I look in the pantry and I say, there ain't nothing in there. Then we need to go stove eat. Hour later, Britt got a 4-course meal on the table, and I'm like, where'd you find that?
I learned that
in
from my
the
grandmother.
pantry.
You learn from the old folks. They make jelly without sure gel. They made pies without any fruit or any kind of real ingredients. They could mix stuff up. I guess you'd call it a spice pie. It really didn't have a. There really wasn't no recipe to it. She just mixed up something and make it sweet. That's how she
And so
made
that's
pie.
not like something I do right there. The cream cone. Yeah, that's something I do.
Yeah. I never have been much on cream corn. I like whole kernel corn.
I like corn cob.
Now corn casserole, I like it. That's different. I used to be more creative. Now it's just cook and get done. Especially this time of year.
Now you do a lot more cooking in the winter.
Yeah, we do a lot more in the winter. Summertime it's so hot you just can't stand it.
Well,
we don't want to heat the house up, and I've got to be outside to work in the garden. So
in wintertime, we're going to use the gas to heat the house anyway. Might as well spit some good food out of it.
Yeah.
In summertime, though, it costs you money to get good food.
You got to run the air all the time.
You got to run the air conditioner. And then you still sweat off. Yeah,
another month it'll be in the 70s at night, so there won't ever be a cool moment really outside.
That when you can those heat meat meals, we'll be thankful for those canned heat meat meals we did that year.
That'd make good bread if you could grind your own grain. We're gonna try that. We grind corn anyway. I can make cornmeal, make grits.
I was gonna say you make blue cornbread out of your blue corn.
Nobody around here grows wheat, but I've got a plan for something here in a week or so. I'll make a video. I got something planned for this fall. This fall I can say I done it. Yeah, we're down in the mid-70s now. It's a lot better. And nobody around here grows wheat. Not the kind of wheat you'd eat anyway. They grow the kind for making hay. Or making straw. I keep saying hay. Straw. But I need a cover crop, and I've found some seed, and I've got it ordered. It'll make a good video. Make some head scratching. Yeah. We expanded the 4 gardens that way I could actually have a cover crop and actually stop growing stuff and plant something that helped with the grass, because Tennessee clay grows grass really well. You can't hardly pull it up. Corn day. And about another.
You have corn day here once in a while too.
About another 2 weeks it'll be a corn day. We've got some incredible sweet corn. I didn't grow very much of it this year, but we have grown several hundred ears.
Oh.
I take a Friday or a Saturday, especially in summertime, because I don't have but one job, and we'll spend the whole day doing corn.
You could do some
fresh corn is good though.
Grandma's so happy to talk about just cooking for 1 or 2. We've learned how to cut back.
We're learning. Both our children's grown now. technically you could say we had 3, but the other one we just kind of tuck in.
We
But they're all grown. They're all 18 or above.
they're all out of the house.
Now we're cooking for.
Just
I just
us.
cook for Cindy and occasionally the grandboy. And he comes over, but he's hard to feed, so he wants junk food.
Make it junk food.
He's under 2, and he's already learned what a cell phone is and what junk food is.
We learned to cut back. Like when we canned our meat, we only canned them in pint jars instead of quart and stuff. Cause like family, we would have come and like our corn, we cut off the cob. I I've made smaller bags. I've cut back where we used to make almost a quart bag. I make half quarts, because you and I don't eat that much. So I have a few bags for like when the kids come to eat, and then I have most of the bags. Oh, it's just like for me and you. And then last year we got to where we canned the green beans and potatoes together, and a quarter of that feeds me and you.
I can some of the corn too.
And then I mean we're learning
The
to cut
grandbaby?
back and make smaller sizes.
He's growing like a weed. He's tall enough he can reach the door handles and turn them. He just don't know to pull. He's 17, well, roughly 17 months old now. He knows where home is. You take him outside and set him down, he heads down the driveway. He's automatically going to mama, one way or the other. And he's fast.
Yeah,
The little toot can run pretty fast. But he knows his Uncle Jesse's house, and he knows his mama's house. For a 17-month-old, I think he does good.
He ain't come 2 months. Well, I guess it will be July 6th, isn't it?
Yeah, just a few days he'll be months old.
Sure, where time go?
Both our children, their significant others, and the grandbaby all lives on our property. We own 3 houses, so they're just yelling different distance away.
When he learns how to open the door with it by himself, he'll be gone. Matt will be calling us, going, Mama, is Lincoln with you? Jesse, is Lincoln with you?
As long as he heads between the houses, we're good. If he runs out the other direction, that's bad. He won't tell him what he'd get into. He's a smart little person. Well, we didn't plan it for our children to live on our property, but the land became available. Our neighbor sold her house and her grandmother's house and a trailer all to us at one time. And that opened the door for us to have places for them to live. Which our daughter and her husband, grandbaby, got the furthest away. Our son turned 18 a few months ago, December. Yeah, turned 18 December, and he decided he wants to live in the house in between us, which is far enough away. They all got a little privacy, and we don't get in each other's business that way. If they need us, we're close by.
I have to say, though, I think we got pretty good kids. They check on me every day.
Yeah.
I hadn't completely run them off.
I've got one garden in Samantha's yard, and the other, we bought another piece of property back behind that house, and that's where the bigger garden is. So 2 of them's on one side of the property, and the other 2's on this side.
We ended up with the houses because we made a deal with the neighbor that if we wanted to sell, we'd sell to him.
Yep.
If he wanted to sell, he'd sell to us. Well, his widow wanted to
away.
sell the house, and she made us an offer we just couldn't refuse.
Oh, yeah.
And our daughter and her husband was renting, and they said they come help us make mortgage payments if we live in their house. our house, so we bought the houses. Now we get control of who lives beside us.
Hopefully things will work out and money gets straight. We can get the one in front of us.
Yeah.
And my daddy's done asked me if I'm trying to buy the whole block, and I said I would. If I could, I would.
Maybe fruit trees everywhere. Isn't it?
Yep. We're filling it up with trees.
It's just, small town, small area.
Yeah, we're too far in town, really. It's where we got planted, so where the Lord put us, we just make the best of it.
We could afford the house, and that's what we bought. We just added on ever since.
Yeah. We always talk about adding on the house, but we're adding on the land. That's kind of stalled in the last year, but we're going to work on that.
Yeah.
I imagine rent's high here.
No, they don't.
No,
They help me.
most I get, they open the back door, look out, and see if I'm still standing. I guess the heat hadn't killed me yet, and they close the door and go back to the air conditioning. I don't keep up well. I start out doing really well, and as the grass starts coming in and the plants start growing, I start getting behind, and I pick out something to do every day. I go from this garden to from garden 1 to garden 2 or garden 4 or whatever needs doing the worst. That's where I'm at.
Not initially.
Good night, Misha. Glad you stopped by.
Yeah. No, the kids, they will eat what we grow, and they have good hearts. They want to help. They just
Yeah, gardening keeps you from being bored.
don't have time.
Gardening makes you take good naps too.
Um.
Our daughter can't help in the garden because the 17-month-old is leech to her or me. When she comes outside, one of us is going to stop and hold the baby because he ain't going to let one of us do something. So if she comes out, he's got to come out too. And that ends my gardening. My son
Works 6 days a week.
works 6 days a week, and he's just turned 18. He's got other things on his mind. He's worried about trucks and cars and working somewhere and what he's going to do on the weekend.
He has 2 jobs.
Yeah, getting older don't help none. Yeah, you got to let them live their own life. You can give them advice, don't mean they're going to listen. So.
No, we didn't listen to ours either.
No. Like I said, you can give them advice, don't mean they're going to listen.
But our children listen to us about well, we listen to our parents, so.
We didn't make no great living, but we've done good, I think. Our house is paid off. We own land.
We just got to pay off their houses.
We raise our own vegetables. I mean, it takes 4 of these little gardens to raise everything. If I had one more spot of property, I could probably put everything in 2 gardens, but we don't buy canned food at the store. We raise it in the garden.
That's pretty good.
I think they tried the community garden here. It hasn't flew so far. But a lot of people does it their own unique way, and they've got yards to do it in, property. farms or
Been on here over there.
yeah. We're in a we're in the great city too. I like to cut up about it. There's no four-way stops. There's no three-way stops. There's no traffic lights. No blinking lights of any kind. We do have one paved one-way road. That's the only oddball road. Everything else is straight through. The other one-way road is gravel and it's cut off because the city had it dug up for a month now working on a gas line. So, off. City department don't get no big hurry either.
I got important things to do.
Yeah. We're watching Bill Hay from our front porch.
Prep for eternity. Prep for eternity.
Hey, Brother Donnie, prep for eternity homestead. We have I wound up with a big salt vat tank when I used to work for one of the factories. Big hard black plastic tank, and it does really well for catching water. It was a saltwater vat we used years ago for water softener. Holds about 400 gallons. I plumbed over it, built the wooden top for it. Put a pipe in the bottom and a valve where I can pull water out of the bottom with a pump. It'll naturally flow to the first garden, but I have to pump it everywhere else. We've got a lot of little things done. We just can't seem to get it all knitted together where everything takes care of itself. I haven't figured that part out yet.
Oh, you're one person doing the work at four,
Yeah.
so.
Next thing I want is a tractor, a wide front end tractor. I own two Farmalls and they're both tricycle. I want one with a wide front end and a step through tractor. I'm tired of climbing to get on the tractor. And the wide front end would help where I could cultivate and I could lay off rows and stuff with it. A tricycle front end is just a little more aggravating.
So friends of ours just came grandparents. We got a little rain.
Yeah, we got an inch of rain today, brother.
Woo!
We're tickled to death over it.
We almost went outside and danced. I
thought about it. The lightning and thunder kind of deterred that idea, but of course the wind was blowing the corn down. Everything was whipping around the yard, but I still wanted to. I told her, I said, I don't care if corn blows down. As long as it rains on it, corn grow horizontal just as good as it will vertical. It'd be unusual if we actually grew sweet corn vertical where we live. The wind blows it down every year. It's just a matter of what part of the year. I've actually took string and tied my corn stalks together and drove stakes and pulled it back up. It rained and wind blowed so hard some years. It looked kind of like an accordion out there on the string. But I still got sweet corn out of it. Let's see. Hmm. 7 miles makes all the difference. I'd like to be about that far out of town. But that ain't what the Lord planned us. I guess we're about the only one around in this area that's got a big garden. There's a few people grows a few plants here and there. Or we used to have a neighbor, elderly man, that he had a garden about the size of one of mine, but everything in it was beautiful. He took most of his backyard up to grow it. He's passed on now, so he was the last one in our little area that actually grows a big garden. You'd have to go a mile or two to find somebody. Several miles, probably. I have never tried a park swapper. I seen yours the other day. I watched your video. Looks like a good one. I mean, he made a big tomato. I planted Abe Lincoln tomatoes. They're heirloom. That's the biggest tomato I've ever grown. I've got pictures and videos on YouTube channel somewhere. It took up a small plate. They're unbelievable how big they get, but they couldn't take the heat. So I didn't plant them this year. I planted mule team, and we're gonna get some big tomatoes off mule team. They're just starting, but there's some big ones out there. Our bean trellis is stock panels, 16-foot stock panels, bent into an arch and stuck in the ground, and I drive fence posts down next to it and tie them or it'll blow it down.
I believe he right.
And a lot of people are dependent on the stores, and a lot of them start out trying to grow something, but they get burned. Well, we still got July and August left, Brother Donnie, so who knows? It might get hotter, it might stay the same, it might get cooler. 2017 or 18, it got really hot in June, stayed pretty warm in July, and August and September it cooled off, and they actually turned cold pretty early, but fruit trees was loaded. Vines of all your grapevines and stuff was loaded. It was a really good year for the fruit because it was warm enough to get them started, and then it cooled off and didn't burn them up.
Did you say they get? What get?
I'll have to find you a picture, brother, but I've got one on the computer. I know that the Abe Lincoln tomatoes we picked.
How big did it get? It got
We put
bigger
on
than a softball.
We put it on a medium-sized plate, not a full-size dinner plate, but the
8-inch.
like an 8-inch plate.
I can't remember if it's a 6-inch.
I'll find a picture of it and send it to you. Fall potatoes here, I have to put them out. I have to put them out the first July or first couple of weeks in July anyway to make sure they get done before the cold hits. Probably the first or second week. They need about 9 days. That'll put it into the middle of October, and I have seen it snow the third week of October. And I've seen it good and hot, so I always try to plan for everything to fall the second or third week of October. We want everything done, everything out of the garden or cover crops planted, whatever, and be finished.
Yeah,
I've got some potatoes today. I was telling them that my grandmother-in-law dropped me off some potatoes to plant. She knows I do a lot of planting, and she had some at the house. It was already growing eyes. And she dropped off the bag and told me to just plant them. She didn't need them. Brought me some more sweet potatoes, which I don't really. They already got runners on them. Already got slips started, so I'll probably plant them too. I'll cut the ends off and plant them. Brother Donnie, you're gonna have to do like I did. I guess you're gonna have to save the eyes off your other potatoes. You'll slice them off and leave a little thick meat on the bottom and dry them for a day or two and put them in the refrigerator. You can keep them. We kept some from November and December and planted them in 1st of April.
Babies.
That's what we dug the other day. Yeah, the baby potatoes that you come out, they'll work. I mean, it makes decent potatoes. So.
Good night, Tinker's wife.
Good night, Tinker's wife.
Tinker's wife.
Have a good night.
Yeah, the change.
Patty, yeah.
Change will. Real good. You keep them all
I keep all the
winter.
tiny taters, the change as we call it. I don't remember what got that started, but
You said the big ones were our
that was
money
money.
maker, and this was the change. We
Big
put
ones
our
was money.
change up and plant them again next year.
I'm planting fall potatoes for seed, basically, and we'll probably eat some of the bigger ones, but I've got enough potatoes right now on the ground. If they turn out like I think they will, we won't need a potato to January or February. They should be a few 100 pounds. I've got 6 more rows to dig. And the last 5 rows are double rows, so there'll be a lot of potatoes in them, or should be, if the heat didn't do anything to them.
Oh, that good water.
And we grow a lot of food to make sure we have it and our children have it.
Oh.
And we do take extra to the church and give to friends and stuff, but our fig trees actually put on early figs this year. I've never seen it do that. And the figs it's got now is far earlier than usual. It's had an early crop and a regular crop, and the regular crop's still early. If that makes sense. Normally we don't get figs ripe to October on the trees we have. There's figs out there big as quarters now in June. I know they're not going to make it to October. They're not going to hang on the tree that long. I don't know what's happened. Both trees done it. I've got 4 more started, but I just hope we get figs. I hope they don't fall off and turn bad or dry up and fall off. I grew, what was it? Chicago figs last year is what we put out. We grew them in the house and got them started and put them out. It's just strange that the figs are already on the tree. Our 4 little fig trees ain't got no fruit. They're waist high now. It's 3 Chicago figs and a Tennessee fig, which some people argue what a Tennessee fig is. I have no clue. The man that gave it to me told me, he said he knew it was a Tennessee fig. He said, don't let anybody tell you any different. So I take him at his word. He's got a bunch of them. Let's see. We have been on here quite a while. Hey, Cindy's getting tired of me. She's winding down on me. We're going to have to get off here. Let her go to bed. Let her rest. I appreciate everybody showing up, though. Ground turkey. That sounds like a good fig. Sounds like a Tennessee fig's close to that. It's probably, over the years, somebody probably propagated it and moved it, got moved north and got it where it would live here. But who knows? He said it's Tennessee fig. I'll take him at his word. I was proud to get it. We swapped trees. I gave him a Olympian fig and he gave me a Tennessee fig. Thank y'all for showing up. Y'all have a good night. Have a good week. God bless.